My sister's bald head glistened under the stage lights as she thanked 200 people for helping her fight brain cancer. I watched from my table, phone in hand, finger hovering over the play button on the video of her doing burpees at the gym that morning. When I finally pressed it, my mother's scream was so primal that 3 people dropped their wine glasses. What happened next put my sister in prison and destroyed what was left of our family forever. The smell of Mom's pot roast filled Melissa's apartment, but nobody was eating. My sister sat across from me at her IKEA dining table, the one we'd assembled together last Christmas while drinking wine and laughing about her terrible dating life. That version of Melissa felt like a ghost now. This Melissa had hollow eyes and trembling hands as she pushed a medical folder across the table toward our parents. "I need to tell you something," she whispered, and I watched my mother's face drain of color before Melissa even said the words. Mom knew. Somehow, mothers always know. "I have brain cancer, glioblastoma, stage 4. The folder hit the floor, papers scattered, printouts with words like inoperable and palliative care and 6 months. Dad made a sound I'd never heard before, somewhere between a cough and a sob, and suddenly he was 68 years old instead of the invincible man who'd taught me to ride a bike. Mom couldn't breathe. Actually, couldn't breathe. I had to get her a paper bag while she hyperventilated into her hands, her whole body shaking. Melissa cried quietly, apologizing over and over. "I didn't want to tell you like this. I've known for 3 weeks. I needed time to process it myself first." I held my sister while she sobbed into my shoulder, her body so small and fragile against mine. We'd shared a bedroom until I was 14. I'd been her maid of honor at her wedding to that asshole Brad before they divorced. She was the only person who knew I'd had a miscarriage last year. We told each other everything, or so I thought. "We'll fight this," I heard myself say, stroking her hair. "We'll get second opinions. We'll try every treatment. You're not giving up." She pulled back and looked at me with those scared, desperate eyes. "There's nothing to fight, Jamie. It's already won." Melissa shaved her head on a Sunday. She made an event of it, invited Mom and me over, set up her phone to film it. She sat in her bathroom with tears streaming down her face while I ran the clippers over her scalp, watching blonde hair fall like silk into the sink. My hands shook so badly I had to stop twice. When it was done, she looked at herself in the mirror and said, "I guess this is who I am now." She posted the video to Facebook that night. Within 3 hours, 800 people had commented, "You're so brave. Praying for you, warrior. Stay strong, beautiful." Her friend Caitlin started a GoFundMe page without asking, "Help Melissa fight brain cancer," with a goal of $20,000 for medical bills. The money came in like a flood. $20 from her old yoga instructor, $50 from our cousin in Oregon who we hadn't spoken to in 5 years, $200 from Dad's co-worker who'd never even met Melissa. By the end of the first week, strangers were donating, people who'd just seen her story shared across Facebook, moved by the image of a young woman facing death with grace. I gave $500 I didn't have. Dad took out a $15,000 loan against the house he'd spent 30 years paying off. Mom quit her part-time job at the library, the job she loved, the one that gave her purpose after we kids moved out, to become Melissa's full-time caretaker. Melissa moved back into our childhood home, into her old bedroom with the glow-in-the-dark stars still on the ceiling. Mom made her favorite meals, chicken parmesan, lemon bars, the potato soup recipe from Grandma. We'd sit around her bed like she was already dying, trying to memorize her laugh, the way she scrunched her nose when she smiled, all the little things we'd taken for granted. She looked so weak, so genuinely exhausted and scared. I never questioned it, not once. It started with the manicure. I'd taken the afternoon off to surprise Melissa with lunch on the day of her chemo appointment. I knew she said she wanted to go alone, but I thought maybe she was just being proud, not wanting us to see her sick. I drove to Johns Hopkins Hospital where she said her oncologist was, planning to meet her in the parking lot afterward with Thai food from her favorite place. I saw her car, silver Honda Civic with the Bernie Sanders bumper sticker. My heart lifted. I'd timed it perfectly. Then I watched her walk out of a nail salon 3 doors down from the hospital entrance, laughing into her phone, showing off fresh pink acrylics to someone on FaceTime. My brain couldn't process it. Maybe she'd finished chemo early? Maybe they'd rescheduled? I sat in my car for 20 minutes trying to logic my way out of what I'd seen, but that sick feeling in my stomach wouldn't leave. That night at dinner, Melissa complained about how brutal the chemo had been, how she'd thrown up 4 times, how exhausted she was. I watched her eat 2 full plates of Mom's lasagna, watched her go for a walk around the block after dinner to clear my head. Watched her post an Instagram story from that walk, full makeup, glowing skin, caption, "Grateful for small moments of peace." I started keeping a list on my phone, small things that didn't add up. She never lost weight. Her skin stayed clear. She had energy for shopping trips but was too weak to come to my birthday dinner. She went to every appointment alone and came back with generic updates. Scans looked okay, or adjusting my medications, but never specific details. Then her boyfriend Marcus posted a photo, just for a few minutes before he deleted it. But I saw it. I screenshotted it. Melissa in a red bikini on a beach in Mexico, margarita in hand, very much alive. The private investigator's name was James Chen. Former Baltimore PD detective, now ran his own agency out of a strip mall office that smelled like coffee and cigarettes. I paid him $3,000 I put on a credit card and told him everything. He didn't judge, just took notes and said he'd have answers in 2 weeks. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every time Mom posted a Facebook update about Melissa's brave fight, every time someone added to the GoFundMe, now at $63,000, I felt like I was drowning. What if I was wrong? What if my sister really was dying and I was wasting time and money stalking her like a paranoid psycho? James called me on a Tuesday. "You should sit down for this." There was no cancer. There had never been cancer. Melissa wasn't a patient at Johns Hopkins. The oncologist she'd named, Dr. Sarah Rodriguez, didn't exist. James had followed her for 12 days straight. Not once had she gone to a hospital. Her chemo appointments were spin classes, coffee dates with Marcus, shopping at Nordstrom, and twice to a luxury spa for massages. James had video footage, photos, time-stamped evidence of everything. Melissa at Equinox Gym doing deadlifts. Melissa at brunch eating Eggs Benedict. Melissa getting her hair professionally styled, full, thick, blonde hair hidden under the wigs and scarves she wore around family. Then he told me about Ohio. 4 years ago, under her middle name, Melissa Ann Parker, she'd run an identical scam, fake leukemia diagnosis, raised $32,000 from a church community, disappeared before anyone caught on. "Your sister is a professional," James said quietly. "This isn't impulse, it's a pattern." I hung up and vomited in my kitchen sink. Then I stared at my phone for an hour before calling Mom, before destroying her, before burning down everything we'd built our lives on. But I couldn't make that call. Not yet. Because Melissa had just announced her charity gala. The Harbor East Ballroom sparkled with fairy lights and 200 people in black tie, all there to say goodbye to my dying sister. I wore a red dress, the color of rage, though no one knew it yet. The USB drive in my clutch felt like a bomb. Melissa looked beautiful. Elegant black gown, silk headscarf covering her bald head, thin and graceful as she moved through the crowd accepting tearful hugs. Our parents sat front and center. Dad had aged 10 years in 3 months. Mom hadn't stopped crying in weeks. They looked destroyed, hollow, like they were already grieving. After dinner, Melissa took the stage. "I want to thank every single person in this room," she began, voice breaking perfectly on cue. "Cancer has taught me what really matters: love, family, community. You've all given me so much hope. Even though my time is short, I'll leave knowing I was loved." People were sobbing. A woman in the back started clapping. The whole room erupted. Melissa bowed her head, tears streaming, the portrait of dying Grace. I stood, walked to the stage. Melissa smiled at me, genuine, trusting, sisterly love in her eyes, and handed me the microphone. "I want to tell you all who my sister really is," I said. The projector flickered to life behind me. Melissa's face appeared, frozen mid-laugh at the gym, full hair visible under her baseball cap. The timestamp: 3 days ago. Mom's scream cut through the room like glass breaking. Dad stood so fast his chair fell backward. The video played. Melissa doing burpees. Melissa on the beach. Melissa shopping, eating, living. Then the medical report. No patient record found. Melissa lunged for the laptop. I stepped back. She fell to her knees on stage, mascara running, screaming, "Please, Jamie, please stop." "The GoFundMe is at $79,000, I said into the microphone, my voice shaking with fury. "She's not sick. She's never been sick. She did this before in Ohio. It's fraud. It's all fraud." Subscribe for more true American betrayal stories.